But yes, human and animals. I like to give very generalized topic. So here we are, live on YouTube, and we are beginning with our topic. The communication, we are developing model of communications where each one can relate, young generation to new generation to old generation. Anyone can communicate with anyone. And there is a lot on the way in which animals can play a very good role in developing communication model in humans. Learning with communicating with animals may open a new ways to communicate with humans also. Many a time you are angry with a human relationship. And then when you come to your own animal relationship, that calms down. You change your mode, you start to flow with love, and start to that other, it's supporting to express your love to human also. No? Right. So in that way, we have a lot of experience how communicating with animals or learning with animals, resolving our human to human relationship. Now, how it's affecting our human to human relationship if we are good in communicating with animals. Or if we are learning with animals, how it's supporting to be communicative or open or understanding to our human relationship. That is our topic. How our learning with animals is being transferred in relating to humans. A human is relating two ways. One way we are relating to animal kingdom, plant kingdom, other kingdoms of life, water kingdom or the earth terrain. We relate with flora and fauna, and each human has a particular relationship with animal. And with this, how it's helping, soothing, substituting, sometimes substituting a need of a human, they work as a substitution. So in many ways, they are in our life. We can also search for mythological meanings like Indian gods and goddesses, each one in a special relationship with an animal. If you see Indian gods and goddesses, none is like without an animal by the side.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, like each one is falling in love with an animal. Also, like Shiva has bull, Krishna has cow, Ganesha has rats, Kartikeya
What?
has pig, rat,
Rat.
mouse.
Oh, really?
Yeah. bizarre,
That's shocking to
bizarre
me.
friendship. Bizarre friendship. Elephant and mouse. Some has peacock. No, some has donkey. Some buffalo.
Wow.
Some also hawk. So many animals we found like in Indian mythology or in Hinduism. You find gods and aligned with an animal kingdom with full harmony, like in complete harmony. So animal as such, each animal is unique for sure. Look, some Durga, tiger, cat and tiger family, tiger. Some has lion. So we see all famous animals. Famous means like somehow they are on the top of their species. Like this way or any other way. They are relating. Also, each god has a unique force.
What?
Unique force. He
Force.
can do a particular task very well. His characters is also characterized by a quality of character, like someone is very celibate, someone is very strong, someone is very wise, someone can listen, like some different powers assigned him. Also, we found that forces like creative force, sustaining force, and destructive forces. So each animal may carry a force, a particular kind of force to channel. Like cat is used in black magic a lot, or other worldly dimensions. If you want to connect to the spirit world or any etheric presence, people using cat a lot. So I have not a scholar into this, neither I'm a researcher into that. But a common sense when we perceive the temples, things your mind opens up to think. No? And when you see the pictures, and also some pictures are very deep, depicting a relationship, a particular actions that reminds through the sculptures. So I am just wondering, there are so many dimensions open, and it cannot be just without a reason that none of the God without an animal assigned to them. So this is a mythological and ethereal dimensions of relating with the animals. So many ways, and we all have some experiences. How you relate, what you learn, how it helped, and how it helped to resolve your human conflicts too. Just another dimension to add upon it. You're welcome, Jenny Ambrose, Dr. Jenny Ambrose,
Oh
to throw a
my.
light from your dimensions the way you like to.
Well, first I want to kind of explain why it's even possible. So again, everything in the universe is made up of atoms. Atoms have a frequency, color, and sound, and we're all connected. So the idea that we can communicate with animals and they can communicate with us is very real, because there's an exchange of energy, a consciousness that connects. When I was in Canada, I met a woman that did a class there at the IIIHS, and she travels the world. She can communicate with any animals. I mean, she said she was talking about squirrels come and knock at her door. She can communicate with spiders, with ants. And she traveled the world. And she said the one thing about animals is that all they are is they don't have a heart chakra, because they're all heart. And so that's what they came to teach us here, is connecting to the heart. And you'll notice, like, somebody will have a dog their whole life and they pass, the dog dies after they do, because there was such a connection, the dog didn't want to be here. So it's really interesting. And I've just experienced so many stories, especially with cats. And in Egypt, cats keep the negativity away. Cats have been used in many different indigenous cultures. Now, one night I was sleeping in bed and the cat was scratching at the top of my head, and it woke me up. And so our crown chakra, our connection is at the top. Something was trying to connect to my crown chakra, and the cat was attacking it because the cat could see what was going on. And I've noticed dogs and cats, they can look around, they'll be looking around the room, seeing entities or spirits in the room.
I
The thing
also
that's
watch reels. In
what?
reels, I saw that a baby is sleeping and cat is just going into the air and fighting with someone which you don't see anything in the camera, but
Right.
she's doing something, like she's seeing something which you don't see.
Oh, they do. They see in the spirit world, and they're healers. I mean, one time I had an ear infection and I was laying on the couch. It was quite a few years ago. and the cat jumped up next to my shoulder and actually started making sounds in my ear. And the next morning I got up, my ear infection was gone. And it kind of freaked me out because I was like, I mean, it was really weird sounds. And then when I've had a cold before, they come up and they actually lay on your chest. Has your cat done that? Lay on your chest and do healing work? To me, they're just amazing, cats and dogs. And I've had dogs show up in soul paintings that come to people in a dream the night before that are doing my soul paintings and tell them they want to be in my painting. And it's a dog that's been, passed. Snakes, for some reason, I can communicate with snakes. We can communicate with everything. I was trying to think of a really big one that I wanted to share. Oh, and butterflies, even butterflies. Have you ever been out walking around, a butterfly lands on you and stays on you for about a half hour?
Yeah, but I never paid attention of communication like this. But yeah, it do happen that sometimes like butterfly can come
Yeah,
and sit. But I didn't pay so much attention to kind of relating to butterflies.
really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I had a really, I don't know if I talked about this on the show before because I'm teaching classes, but um, I went out to the woods to a friend's place in the woods, and she had a fire pit, and I was sitting there just to get away. Having that many children, sometimes I just need to connect with nature. And so I was sitting there, and a butterfly came up. Did I tell this story, Sheree?
No,
Butterfly
no,
came
no.
up and was flitting around me, and it'd go off, and then it'd come back. And I said, "What?" So I followed the butterfly, and the butterfly took me into the woods, and then it landed on a branch, and I looked down, and there was I don't know if it was a hawk feather or owl feather on the ground. And so I know those are gifts. So I picked it up and I said, "Thank you." So then I walked over to the path in the woods. And as I was walking down the path, all these butterflies lined up on the path. And as I was walking, they were opening and closing their wings. And I started crying. It was an amazing experience where they literally lined up on the path. And I said, I was saying thank you, but I mean, I love nature. I was raised on a farm, but I got to tell you a bad story, not a bad story, but being on a farm, my parents, uh, butchered cows and stuff like that. And luckily I didn't have to get involved in that. But at one point they butchered chickens, right? Anyway, I was outside and they were killing the chickens, and it freaked me out and traumatized me so much. I went in the house and they couldn't find me, and I was hiding under the bed. And I didn't have to go see any of that anymore because it was so traumatizing to me. Just the fact of killing something. So anyway,
Mm.
and being on a farm, that's pretty prevalent, because it's survival, but in that consciousness anyway. But yeah, I mean, I have 100 stories, but maybe somebody else has
Oh,
more
well,
stories.
Kalinath also wanted to talk about, but she is not here. But in the group, she was saying, suggesting of animal messengers of the divine. She wanted to talk with this angle, how they can be divine messengers in your life, like butterfly, in a way you said, kind of, or giving other messages. So it was her topic to talk about it. She's not here, but we can listen, and we are listening your stories. One, I like this butterfly. I never thought that you can communicate with butterfly like this,
I
and they
actually
can
put
listen.
him in my book, my children's
Mm,
book that I wrote. I
mm.
I in the book I made butterflies fairies, so they went from a butterfly and turned into a fairy in my children's
I
book.
have experience with birds, with animals, with plants, but in other animals, with elephant, with snake, with other birds, but never thought of butterfly.
I think I'm
Very
part
strange.
butterfly. How about you, Samil? Is it Samil? Is that how you say that?
Yeah, Sunil Masuria. Yeah.
Do you have any stories about animals? Do you hear me? He must not have heard me.
Not as such. I don't
Not
have
as
any.
such like ours. So interesting.
All right. So, okay, this is really neat. So this is a dual thing about animals and birds. So I took my kids to a fair. We have these county fairs. And then they run around and they can get a rabbit and bring it home. So they get floppy-eared rabbits, and we brought them home. I lived in the country at the time. And I don't like to cage things, so I let the rabbits run outside. And they could hide under the car, outside. Anyway, that night I went to bed and I fell asleep telling a story to my son in his bed, and we had the window open. And in the middle of the night, I heard this owl hooting and it woke me up. And as I sat up in bed, I said, "No, don't take my bunny." As I sat up in bed, I said, "Don't take my bunny." Well, the next morning, the bunny was gone, but the owl came and told me he was taking the bunny. And I knew it when I woke up. That's what he was telling me, was that it was going to take the bunny. So, I mean, it's exciting. I love the animal kingdom. I call it a kingdom because of their connection.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. You can communicate with them like a kingdom, kind of. And each animal, that's what I sense. They live in a very different frequency and in a very different state, completely different state. We can only experience it in deep samadhi, kind of very deep meditation. You can experience in the space they are already living, but just they are not aware that we human are looking for this kind of space to live all the time, in which their mind is or feeling. And yes, they are governed by instinct. Only thing is the love which everyone responds, whether it's animal, whether it's human, whether it's tree, whether it's bird, whether it's any minerals, anywhere. And I was amazed. I thought I was going cuckoo, but I could communicate with computers, no circuits.
With what?
When I was working with computer, laptop computers,
Yeah.
so I could also sense the algorithms or the thinking kind of as a living being, kind of what is wrong in the computer. Just by looking at it, I can sense somehow like
That's
this could be
interesting.
wrong, this could be wrong. So, like in a way, when we start to relate, there is no limit. There is no limit of communication, and also minerals communicating with stones.
What?
Stones, stones.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mountains, stones, the solid, minerals. Also a completely different world, completely different world, and to communicate. But most of I opened up with trees more than animals. I opened up to animals could be, but I opened up through plant kingdom. The communication I opened up through the plant kingdom, basically the deep communication, how you can relate without any words, just through the energy and emotions and feelings and conveying and understanding and each other.
And the auras
Yeah.
that come off trees, especially in the spring and summer, their auras are just.
Mine with tree is very strange. So one time I had Kundalini experience with a people tree.
What?
with a people tree.
Mhm.
I had like, it was raining, or like it was like nice, it started to rain. So I just stopped for a while under a tree, and it was a people tree under which Buddha became enlightened. That tree.
Okay. Okay.
So I was also at the time studying about him, reading his scriptures, books, and when this, I was thinking and moving in the park in the same space, and suddenly, with out of love, gratitude, I thought to just sense the tree. So I just put my hands, just with all my love, with these all ideas and thinking, and I got an electric shock in my body, conveyed, just like electric shock in my body. Only once it happened. Just I touched, and I touched the bark, and just touching the bark, and an electric current flowed through my body,
That's cool.
like 440 volt, like this, the way we touch like this, that kind of.
Wow.
And another time I have been opening to plant kingdom. I was sick. My body was weak, and I was sick. And that way the main communication is started. Like, nobody to share your sickness. Nobody, I can tell anyone what's going on inside me and what is wrong in my body. And then with this idea, I started to be with the trees, like being with this idea. And then I started to communicate with the trees. And if the trees doesn't have, like trees start to tell you how I can be useful for you in this situation. If they don't have it, they can transfer you to some another tree. But you need to sense their messages, and it can only happen in jungle, wood, in forest, like which the fully lush green with plant kingdom. When you are into the plant kingdom, they are ruling that kingdom. There you can really fall in communication, and then they start to tell you this flower, this body organ. They just communicate to me, they communicate with body organ. I am this part of your body. I am this part of your body, like oneness. Like when you see oneness, then this flower, oh, I am this part of your body. I am this. So each one will start to tell you which part I belong to. That way. So this way, my communication opened with plant kingdom in this way. And then after, yes, I started to communicate with animals too, but in a very different way. And animals I found more alive than plants and responsive, because they can move and they can express themselves actively. So basically governed by instinct and only responding to love, nothing else. So like no animal you can deceive in love, no? That's the beauty of communication with them, that you can't deceive them. Yes, you can pet them, train them with the idea of food, communication with food. But even without food, if you want to communicate, then it's a different story. Like you did not, one way you develop relationship, you feed the pet and slowly you come closer, and then you start to share emotions with the instinct level. Like emotions on instinct level, it's more like a human relationship. More or less, is you start to convert into human relationship. You start to express your feelings, emotions, venting, loving, all the way we behave with other humans. That way. But without food, when I communicated, then you can communicate with completely different level, like entering into their kingdom and connecting the neurons which connect, like in our language, rational language, we are connecting noun, pronoun, verb, adjective, and then we can convey the message to other brain. Like grammatically, I am putting, and that making meaning in the other brain. Without any food communication. I'm not giving you any food and you are not giving. The moment we share food, communication starts to change in a different level.
Right.
Different level. So this way, I tried once to communicate with animal kingdom without any food and sending messages through plant kingdom. Now, like there are elephants in the forest, suppose, or lion in the forest. I have never seen none of the for elephant, neither the tiger or lion. But if I know somehow that if a lion or tiger or elephant is there, and if I connect with plant kingdom, I can send them the message through the plant. Because to me, it opened up only through the plant kingdom, basically, the communication. And then I learned with animals later. So once I tried to send messages to animal through the plant, possible. Animal can be anywhere deep in the forest, but will respond to your call.
Mhm. I have something similar to that, but I didn't use the plant kingdom because I had, when I was doing my podcast, I had to invest some money in it. And I invested, and then they called me and wanted me to do some more. And I just literally stood here and I said, okay, if I'm supposed to do this, I want a crow to land on my patio and caw at me, and I'll do it. So I opened my patio door, I sat at my computer and was working, and a bird flew up and landed on my patio. And I said, no, it can't be a bird. It's got to be a crow. And so I went back to work, and all of a sudden a crow flies up on my back patio and caws at me. And I said, okay, I'll do it. So I invested in it. But I just spoke it out in the universe.
Crow are very smart. Just now, when I was in Delhi 1 month before, like in January, December, somewhere, I was in Delhi. So
Yeah.
in the seminar on self-recognition, early morning when we were having breakfast, like 8, 10, 12 people were sitting there, and there come a black crow, big black crow. And I just took my breakfast and sit there, and he was like he usually comes there and by the side, and he started shouting, "Caw, caw, caw!" No, so I
Loud.
then I thought not to listen, not to ignore him, but you can't ignore. He was just coming directly in your ear, just by the side sitting. No, finally I said, fed up. I said, my God, I put my food there and took from my food bread, put break it there, and he was like sitting like in the fence, there on the pillar of the fence, one pillar. So I went there, put the bread, put it there, and he did not eat. No, and he said there again, no, like. Then I said, what to do? Then he flight back to the where we had put our food for serving food. There was a packet of mixture of some salty, spicy namkins, which we use in India, no? Made of gram. So it went there, sit on this packet, and start to poke his beak. I want this, no? Then after.
That's what I
So
want.
yeah, that's what I want. And then after I came, but I give him some. Then I said maybe he needs salty, something to eat. Then I give him something salty or something. And then after I could not, because my hands were not right to take. I have no right to take food directly from me while I'm eating. So I waited, and then somebody else came. Then I gave this. Then he ate. So animals can communicate, yes, I found very easily, no, with me, very easily, and I can communicate with them very easily. With birds, with eagles, or any other birds, easy communications, no? Like, and also dogs for sure, dogs. But I usually use the same tone, like nightingale. I'm sitting, coming. So she will create a sound. No? And if I create the same tone sound, it works with them. Same like cats. No? One cat, when they see their mama, they have a special way of sound. Yeah. No? Very soft. So, and if you can note their tone, I use the same tone to another cat. And she responded immediately. Like learning from my cat this tone when they meet their mother or call their mother or calling for help. No, like if you there is cat, if you torture, then she will immediately call meow, mama. No, to mama calling. So if you mimic their tone, I used to another cat that she was walking, and I make the sound, and then immediately turn and making the sound meow, responding to that. So their understanding of love, hate, this is based on their tone.
Yes, absolutely.
Tone. So
Okay.
usually I use the tone, same tone, same
Well,
style, same tone.
and you know, when I lived in the country, the kids had caught some chickens, and so we had chickens out there, and they'd sit up in the tree. One day I was cooking dinner or something, and this chicken made a sound, and I knew it immediately. It was a fear sound. They were scared. And I dropped what I was doing and I went out the front door, and there was a hawk flying around. So the chicken saw the hawk and started screaming because they didn't want the hawk, because the hawk would come down and take them. So I went out and yelled at the hawk, said, "No, leave my chickens alone." Anyway, so then the hawk flew off. But it was weird because the minute that chicken made that noise, I felt it in my body and I knew I had to protect it. It was it's cool. Really cool.
Once I was in a forest alone, at the time young, in a cave. And that was a deep forest. I was alone. And in the night, wild animals used to come, like tiger, hyena, to drink water on this waterfall. And it was like 9, 10, 11. I was awake and with the fire, no, making fire, awake alone in the jungle in front of the cave, sitting. And also, I was afraid that if I fall asleep, some animal can come because I was just in the open forest. And then I started to fall asleep, and then I hear a bird. There was one bird. She was creating a special sound, like kind of a talk, something. And then I started listening to her, this bird sound. I did not see somewhere, but and then I say that to somehow being there, and I was falling deep asleep. I wanted to sleep because fully tired, and sleep was coming. And then because birds can sense if wild animal there, and they make a special sound for that. Even and then I say in deep inside, listening to her, that if anything wrong happens, like disturbs something, this wake me up. Otherwise, continue. This bird, I remember, I was half asleep, half awake, but continuously, she was keep on saying the same tone, hours, that everything is fine, sleep. Until I started to see the dawn, like 4 or 5 o'clock, I started to see. So there are many ways I have experienced that you can communicate with nature. Nature is spirits, and at the time of crisis, really you are open up fully. Like when there's danger to life, like you are alone in the forest, nobody to support, no pet, no animals, no humans, and you are fully open to your instinct and start communicating, sensing the environment, the tree, the water, the animals, the birds. Like you become one with environment because you are fully open. And that's how I sense the animals are living. They are fully open and sensing the environment continuously, like one with that. So any changes, their body sense the masses with the smell, with touch, with emotions, with birds, the walking, all about, yes, sound. Sound plays the most important role in forest, because with the sound you are sensing it's wild animal, it's big animal, it is small animal, it's which kind of movements, bird, each things only you are sensing with the sound. It's a violent sound, like walking. If I am violent walking, if there is a violence, the twig will break in a violent sound. If it is a compassionate person coming, it will make a compassionate sound. There will be a harmony. If anxiety person's coming to you, you hear the anxiety. So you start, before a person coming to you, you know who is this without saying. So that much openness comes in the forest and like the wild way of living.
Don't you think? I mean, I used to go walk in a town, and maybe I'm changing the subject, but I think it correlates. When we'd walk by certain houses, there'd be a smell. Smells are important too. There'd be a stench around a house, and I could feel the negativity, and there was actually a smell at that house. It resonated a smell. And I keep
I'm not
walking
so grounded earth element. I'm more air element, so I can sense the touch, psychic touch in the environment. I only sense with touch. No, like closed eyes and how environment is touching me. The touch, the sense of thought, the ideas, this I sense through touch. Through smell, I'm not so strong. Though I can differentiate. I cook with smell. Cooking.
Yeah.
Cooking, I am cooking only with smell. Through that smell, I can sense which is ripe, wrong, this, that, sour, sweet, all coming through smell. Only while cooking. That's why I like cooking. I mean, make me fully grounded. I can feel myself complete, fully complete with all my senses. Otherwise, my earth element doesn't work in my body. I'm always in the air, flying, and sensing the psychic atmosphere around me. So I like cooking very much, but in my own way.
Yep.
With my taste, with my ideas, with my taste of sour, sweet, this, that. Completely, I go intuitive cooking the way I like. I keep on smelling and following the smell and keep on cooking.
Do you put intention into your food? Because when I do that, people have actually had healing effects. When I intentionally cook a pot of soup for someone that's sick.
In cooking, I forget myself completely. I don't remember who I am. Completely, I don't remember who I am. No thought, no ideas. Nothing moves.
Altered.
Only food.
Yeah.
Only food. Nothing moves in my mind. Nothing moves. No idea, no thoughts. Just everything should be in front of me, like salt, pepper, this, that. I don't have to look or search somewhere. Everything in front, I can cook. I don't think. No ideas crosses in my mind.
That's
While I'm
great.
cooking. Fully into it. Fully into it. Only smelling, cooking. Smelling and cooking. I call my food enlightened. I can make food and you just eat and you will be enlightened. Nothing to do. Just eat my hand, like when I'm cooking. I don't know what I cook, but I cook whatever.
So does your family like your cooking?
I didn't cook since a long time. Like I have to be in kind of groove cooking. First of all, I should be hungry. I cannot cook if I am not hungry. I cook, I am hungry, and then body moves. It just starts to cook whatever my body needs, what is spices, this, that, automatically everything done, and I eat. Very spontaneous. I enjoy very much. Just not enjoy cleaning after the mess which I create.
Yeah. That can be therapeutic though. You go in an altered state. I had to do that so much having so many kids that it became unconscious.
Cooking and cleaning. Two things my mind stops fully. I don't need any meditation, anything. Cooking and cleaning. Two, I noticed no idea. Completely one. No split in the mind. Cooking and cleaning. Two things.
Well, you were talking about being connected to the trees. And over here, the healing tree over here is a pine tree. Do you have pine trees there?
Up in the forest, yes. I need to drive 2 hours.
Yeah, because when I would be out of sorts, I always walked around this lake. There was a whole great big place full of pine trees, and I'd walk back in there and sit up against a pine tree and meditate. And it'd be interesting, like deers would come up. I mean, pine trees are extremely healing, just like amber, the stone amber, but it's not a stone. It's petrified pine tree sap, amber that comes from pine trees. That's healing. So over here, that's our most healing tree. What's your most healing tree over there?
Mine is Tulsi. Tulsi.
How do you spell
Basil.
that?
Basil.
How do you spell that?
Basil. Basil. Tulsi. Very famous in India.
How do you spell it?
How will we say? Basil. 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 Basil.
Oh,
Basil.
Basil.
Yes,
B A.
please.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I have seen that because the roots come out and they go, and you can.
Yeah, this is the very holy tree in India. And the smell, like the most, if I like the smell of this is maybe right now, or maybe I'm sick, then I like, but I'll just go mad with this smell. Tulsi, like I keep on smelling it. Fresh tulsi, fresh basil, these leaves, even dry. I like the smell very much. Also, I like flowers, champa. I don't know in English. Like in trees.
What's it look like?
I don't know in English what is its name. But it's very nice. Because I was exploring, it transforms fear into intelligence just by smelling. Smell is a
Yeah.
thing that you can fix the nervous system diseases just by smell. Because this smell directly earth element and directly enters in the nervous system
Mhm.
very fast. And hence is the earth element should affects our earth element body immediately. Either we will run out of this place, bad smell, it immediately triggers the motor organs to run away from the place because it could be dangerous. So the smell is directly related to completely instinctive, I say like reflex. It can send to the reflex very fast reflex with this smell. Like you can immediately.
Well, a lot of our flowers have been genetically changed over here. And I noticed, like, if you
Yeah,
buy
that could be a different phenomena, but we are also eating genetic mutated food.
oh, I
So
know.
in that way, there will be some kind of harmony. The plant kingdom, the nature always find a way of harmony,
Yeah.
not to become schizophrenic. Nature cannot be schizophrenic in any way. It's inclusive. So if we change the genetic code of the plants, then if we eat that, then it will affect. Then the smell will also change, and we will also change. In relationship, we will be keep on going, resolving each other, helping each other. That nature will never change. So that nature will be changing, then our human body will also be changing according to that nature.
Don't you think, like with alchemy, you can take your energy and change things? Like the alchemist, how he changes lead to gold because of his frequency and his consciousness and his focus. What
See,
and
I can change the neurons patterns, the energy patterns, the way of thinking. We can refurbish the ego structure. Like if ego is
yeah,
damaged at any state of damage of ego, I can repair. If there
yeah,
is a problem, because genetic code is a different phenomenon. As
yeah.
becoming a spiritual, we cannot change the genetic code of our psychic body. Impossible. The codes of our divine body, we can't change the psychic body or the other bodies because that's what we are into this code, and this code is immortal. Immortal.
But
That's a different body that is immortal.
you mean the
When
spirit
this
body?
transfer,
You're
we have
talking
many
about the
bodies,
spirit body.
the spirit body. The
Okay,
code of
not
the
the
spirit
physical
body
body.
cannot change. You cannot change it. It can disintegrate and integrate, but the
Can it
same pattern.
but can't this well, I see what you mean. The spirit already comes in as pure, but we evolve in consciousness, which reconnects to the
No, what
spirit.
is evolving is our individual consciousness
Mm-hmm.
and our individual intelligence, our ego, mind, body, they are evolving.
Right.
Yeah, but the divine, which is entering, which is steering and creating individual consciousness, our individual code, that never, you can't change it. That's my point to think that if we go about in Tantra, there are some methods, methodology, through which we can change the intelligence. We can make changes into the intelligence itself. Making changes in intelligence means you are changing the genetic code. If you are changing ego structure, ego refurbishment, you are not changing the genetic code. You are only changing the communication models. RNA, communications, how the cells using RNA to communicate, to send the message, to receive the message. That we can influence by changing ego structure or even changing the patterns of mind, the
Right.
programs of mind. I have no idea changing genetic codes. It's only possible when we can use intelligence as a matter. Just like ego. We are playing with ego. It's a structure there. You can refurbish it. You can replenish it. We can do something about it. But with intelligence, it's so subtle. I have not done this work.
Yeah, that's pretty
And
deep
I have no
subject.
idea how to do it. I have not tried. There is a way. I have a model in alchemy. We have a model so that we can create a situation. Yes, your intelligence can be enlightened. We can working with our perception ability, equating perception with intelligence, changing perception, we can influence the intelligence. Like the way you are perceiving the world, if that will change, then your intelligence you can influence like that way.
Mhm.
I don't know how to work directly on intelligence because then you need consciousness. Individual consciousness can only change the intelligence. That has the only power assigned to either individual consciousness or universal consciousness we call God.
Well, and that's by choice too.
Our individual has come up, but evolved so much that it has gone beyond its intelligence, individual intelligence, then you can make changes. I have only theory, no
What?
practical experience. Only theories and models,
Oh,
but no practical experience. Yes, I have able to influence genetically caused diseases, control it, but only through the mind.
Well, the mind is everything. That's, it's like that pregnant
Or
movie.
mind means functional mind, which has a pattern of work, function of the mind. Not mind as full power mind, just a function.
Huh, like telekinesis. You can move
What I am
things.
interested, we started to talk with animals, we entered into the plant. What I am interested, how now it is making better our human communication. Because sometimes it stops me to communicate with human.
It's what?
It stops me to communicate with human. Because with human, not possible to communicate so deeply.
Mhm.
So it's a kind of escape to nature. Going in the nature, we managed with the communication and then come back again to them. People cannot communicate fully and deeply and satisfying your things with nature of communication. Sometimes it helps to communicate better because if you are in not good communication with a person, not in a good mood, then you go to the nature and there you become fully nourished, come back, and then you have a reflect in a good position to respond to the person, to give a response.
Don't you think telepathy really has a place, though? I mean, telepathy with animals. I mean, you know what the animal wants.
With the animal, there is only telepathy. Without food, if you are communicating without food, it's telepathy.
Yeah.
If you are sharing and food, then you come to different relationship. If you are communicating without establishing any this relationship of food, of giving and receiving, or token of love, then it's only telepathy. Only telepathy.
I have a cute story. So I was in my place and this blue jay, and you know how loud, do you have blue jays over there? Blue jays? They have a really sharp sound. So I'm in here and I'm hearing this blue jay just screaming unbelievably. I go out and I'd already fed them. And I sat down and put my feet on the ground and I said, What? What's going on? Why are you yelling? So then I closed my eyes and then I linked up to the blue jay and he wanted water because I have this big fountain out there that I put water in for him. But he told me about the water. So I went and got water and he quit yelling. It's so I don't have an animal in my house anymore. I've gone through all that, guinea pigs, all that stuff. But now I connect with the animals outside and I feed the ground squirrels and the squirrels. And the ground squirrel will come up and literally tap me on the back just to say thank you, which was really cool. And my grandfather used to have squirrels come up on his lap and feed him. And he would take bread and put it in his house and put it on his counter. And the squirrels would follow the bread and get on his counter and come back out. He was really connected to the animal world. So it's fun. It's really fun.
Communicating with food, then you are part of the family.
Yeah.
If you communicate with food, then like brothers and sisters, and then this is a part of family. But without food, telepathy communication is very different. Like you have not even seen the animal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can communicate. Not even seen the animal. And you can send them messages. That's a different thing. Telepathy.
Fun.
So far away. But you have to be in a very different space of communicating with them. I was thinking, I have only also another point of view, which is also many times many people criticize the people who are animal lovers. Criticism is that they are incapable of loving humans. That's why they are
They're what?
incapable of loving humans.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that.
That's why you are just satisfying yourself with a substitute. It's a criticism.
Well, the animals love unconditionally. And if people have been hurt, it's easier to be with the animal because, yeah, I totally have seen that many times. And what are we doing?
Already concluding it. We started with animals. What is the outcome of this summary? I don't understand. No?
It doesn't
If you
matter.
ask the question,
It
then I
doesn't
start to
matter.
remember. Oh, like this.
We're spirit led. Let's say it like that. We're just spirit led. We go with the flow.
I will say in one sentence that if you are open to communicate with nature, nature is spirit and animals, it gives you a lot of uh, resilience, emotional resilience,
Emotional
like
what?
resilience.
Resilience. Okay.
Yeah, emotional resilience. Because even somebody disrespects you, somebody abusing you, you have a buffer in your heart very strong that you can feel and sense. And in that way, also, it gives a better understanding of a person in different level, a distinct level understanding, feeling level. Like if you can communicate with animal, then there is an animal in every human. So, and if you can communicate in this way, it helps. If you are a healer or if you are relating with people, and any way you are related with you are healing or making people healthy, then this capability helps a lot to communicate while teaching, understanding the person's body and their mind.
It's also good
But
to
uh,
have your
but I'm saying that only loving animals and trees are not enough unless you are capable of loving a human.
and it's really important to have an animals around children so that they make that connection at a young age. I feel because I always had guinea pigs, rabbits, dog, cats, and they make that connection at a young age. And even though they might move off the path here and there, they always come back to the connection with nature and taking them out in the woods. I always did that with my
Well,
kids too.
having being an Indian point of view, I will be always open to explore this phenomena of relationship of gods and goddesses with a particular animal. And each god and goddesses has a particular function, a particular quality, particular act, and a particular animal. Somehow they are connected. It's open to explore that way
Okay.
in a mythological way or a concrete way. For me, I'm just curious about it and keep on thinking many a time. Many point of view appears and go while I see the pictures of Shiva, the bull, you know, and each picture gives a different space. They try to tell stories. I'm just wondering about it. I have no proper a science which I can explain. All the intuitive experiences here, they are broken this way, that way. No proper logic.
Mm-hmm.
I can explain the animal worship.
Yeah, makes
But
sense.
I do have this kind of communication, and I know there is a oneness. And if you go to the path of salvation, like beginning to the path of enlightenment, you have to communicate all seven kingdoms, one by one. All seven kingdoms, from minerals to divine to human, the way we have evolved. And each kingdom, pain and suffering, or the state they are, we will go through. Right? And we will feel how they are feeling. And this communication, slowly, then you evolve more than you want to the others path of liberation, but you have to go through the feeling of all the kingdoms collectively, being a part of collection, oneness. Consciousness really evolves, evolves and sublimates. That is my experience. That each kingdom you relate. each kingdom, from minerals to plants to animals to birds, all kingdom. And one time you feel one with them and you pass through. Becoming one with them, pass through. Becoming one with them, pass through. That's how finally we come to purest experience of non-dualism. And it starts to see, oh, we are all one law governing all the kingdom. All seven kingdoms are governed by one law. That is the experience. Mind blowing. That is the kind of. Yes, you can say, yes, after that, your mind is fully different. You think differently, you feel differently, you see different. Everything is different. One law governing all the kingdoms, blade of grass and the most divine entity, same law govern and same wisdom everywhere, anywhere, anywhere, everywhere. So that's the greatness of.
Amazing. It's amazing. It's a wonderful journey. Not always easy, but it's a wonderful journey when you can open up.
So
to
I
the
would
world.
say we should be always open to communicating with animals and plants like animation. One door should be open. Then, whenever you will come in crisis, many times we have a long life and each one has to go through many patches. And many times one has to be in the crisis. And whenever you will come, there is no one to support you. This comes to support.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Nature. Put your feet on the ground. Absorb Mother Earth. Mother Earth's very healing. They've even proven that.
So even it is helping you, like medically, we can use a lot of the medical use of animals in the deep sea, in other ways, sensing this way. But but even be a substitute, if somebody cannot love a human, maybe a trauma happened in a relationship, person remains closed completely to opposite sex. Even there, these animals come to rescue. When as a substitute. Most alive and easy is plant and animals. Other elements may not be so easy to communicate with the sky and sun and other planetary kingdom. This I found, if you are a little bit open, you can start to develop yourself. So here we are. One sentence, Jenny, message from your life.
I say get outside every day and be with the animal kingdom, the trees and nature, because I really feel it. The vibration from outdoors is wonderful. And when we're in cement and buildings where it's a heavy energy, it doesn't give us thriving or affect us in a positive way. So I just try to get outside every day, connect with them.
We are always in touch with nature.
All right. Namaste.
So, namaste. Here. One sentence, Ms. Vidaji, any message?
Session was really wonderful, and for me it is a new topic. Like every god is connected with one animal. Manoj giving a insight. Now I will search logic behind the, like Lord Shiva as bull, Krishna is having cow. So I will search this topic. Thank you.